Siri was about to mess me up. What's up, y'all? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you that don't know me, don't know us, don't know the nation, maybe you're not a part of the nation. We are a group practice, Yellowbird Counseling, and for for our clients and followers, we are Yellowbird Nation. But if this is your first time with us, let me give you a little rundown about what we do here in the nation. We educate the general population on reasons that we all need therapy outside of simply just having a mental illness. And I say simply, but it's not simple. But you know what I mean. We make therapy normal for everyone. We make it something that everyone could benefit from. And we make it so you can understand exactly what you're getting when you go to therapy versus counseling, psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker, LPC, nurse practitioner versus each other. What do we all do? We do several things just to educate you on mental health and break the stigma surrounding it, because people have a very limited understanding oftentimes about mental health, which puts you in a position to maybe short yourself. You know, everybody who comes to a therapist doesn't need therapy. Sometimes they just need counseling, which is very different, okay? So different things like that. But I also, of course, have to talk about topics in the climate. I'm the one that has to do it. Hard topics in the climate, maybe that others might be afraid to talk about. Well, I'm an advocate. That's what I do. I advocate. And so that requires me to talk about things that might not be comfortable and relate it back to, again, why we all need therapy. Okay. So of course, critical race theory. I know a lot of y'all were like, when is she going to do it? I know she's going to do it. Yes. It's just that the way that Blue G has me planning things, I got to check it in the savings, and this was in the savings. There was stuff already in the check-in, so I had to transfer this from the check-in, from the savings to the check-in. So it's been a whole thing. All right. So something we need to talk about. For those of you that don't know, of course, not surprising at all, critical race theory, the implementation of that into our K through 12 school systems in Alabama has been denied, has been banned, which that's just like on freaking election day. We already know the state of Alabama is going to be red. We don't get the luxury of Georgia, where they have made a historical mark being blue this past election. But it's like, you know what? I vote because it's my duty. It's my right. And so that's why I vote. But I know Alabama is always going to be red. Always going to be red. I'm surprised that we legalized gay marriage and medicinal use of marijuana, which recently got legalized. I don't know about, like, so new that you probably can't even get a card yet. What's some other stuff I'm shocked about? Definitely the main two things: the legalization of medicinal marijuana, okay, and gay marriage. Alabama, what? So I don't know, maybe one day, but critical race theory, no. Alabama is like the epicenter, like the epitome of racial discord, like the state. So, like, historically, so of course, anything that's going to shine a light on what's really going on, legislation is not going to have that. They're not going to have that. They don't want us to be enlightened, okay? They don't want us to know. They don't want their positions to be threatened, okay? So, of course, it's going to be something that they're not comfortable with talking about, or they're not comfortable with children learning about. But here's my whole thing, and don't worry, I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty. I even got stuff pulled up that we can look at together, okay? I got things pulled up that we can look at together and have an understanding together, but feel free to comment, ask me any questions, all of that. But just a general, loose, brief overview. So, first of all, critical race theory has been conflated, all right, with other things that it is not, such as social justice, such as the Black Lives Matter movement. The view of it is that, all it is talking about how white people are bad and white people are wrong for being white. Okay, so if that is your mindset, already, boom, right there, you can stop watching the live because you've already gotten the benefit to know that, guess what? You need therapy. You do, and that is okay. I'm in therapy. I have 3 therapists. I got an EMDR therapist, I got a regular therapist, and I got a massage therapist who give me my deep tissue bi-weekly. So it's just like, it's okay to need therapy. That is okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It just means that you're a human being that wants to grow and know. You want to grow. You want to know. You want to expand on yourself. You want to have a broader perspective. You want to have a healthy mindset. You want to be grounded. You want to treat others with consideration and respect. You want to take responsibility for your behavior. That's what that means. If you want to go to therapy, that's what that means. It means all those things. It means that you're a proactive citizen, all right, who wants to be a part of a solution and not a problem. That's what that means. So if critical race theory makes you uncomfortable, if you're just not interested in learning about it, please call Yellow Bird Counseling, okay? We have plenty of great therapists. We just brought on number 5, and she will be introducing herself to you. We are so excited to have number 5. I've actually known number 5 since I was an undergraduate, and me and number 5, we used to take classes together, and I'm calling her number 5 because I want her to introduce herself. But she is great. She is a joy. I loved her. I always have. She's just always just been real funny and bright and just hardworking. Like, I've never known her to be anything else when we were in school. And so when I saw her resume, I was like, of course, you know what I'm saying? I reached out to her personally because I was like, I need you on board, basically. I need you here. You can add. So, but she, everybody still goes through the process. So she's just gotten finished and all of that. We have a 3-interview, 2-reference process, and she just finished that. We brought her on board, and we're so excited. So I will be introducing her probably beginning of October. Okay, so be looking for her. And if you want to know who she is right away, you'll be on the newsletter. That already went out for September, but definitely in the October newsletter. But yeah, so we got plenty of great therapists who are willing and ready to service you, help you understand maybe distorted thinking, negative cognitions that you might have. And that is a lot of what's going on with the misinterpretation of critical race theory. All right. Essentially, what critical race theory is examining the intersectionality of where government, okay, and race meet. All right. And unfortunately, because we live in these United States that were at their fiber, at their skeleton, were not created for the advancement of African Americans, okay, minorities, was not created for the advancement, the success, the voice, then we have to an extent, talk about social issues. We have to an extent, talk about how we got to the place where we live in a government. And I broke it down for y'all when I did the Coded Bias Live, okay? I broke it down for y'all that racism is not just like someone's individual bias or individual prejudice. It's not just that, okay? That's like the very surface. That's like the very surface, skin across the top. But under that, we have systems that actively work against us. I named 5 different systems in our government that directly work against African Americans and the advancement of African Americans through AI technology. So if you want to go back and watch my breakdown of the Coded Bias, which you can watch on Netflix. For those of you that are interested, the Coded Bias basically talks about how prejudice and bias are encoded into the AI technology that we use for major institutions such as housing, such as finance, such as healthcare, such as hiring, like all the things that a human being needs to be functional. Large entities or large systems of AI technology manage, and because the majority of the developers of that AI technology are white males, that is the information that the computer is fed. Codes for bias, even though as humans we love to say, "Oh, I'm not this, oh, I'm not that." I'm sorry, you can't trick a machine. You can't. It reads exactly what you tell it to read, whether you know what you're saying to it or not, based on your behavior, based on what information you give it. It's like, oh, A equals B, or A plus B equals C. It's not like, oh, well, maybe sometimes A equals, for some people, you know, that's not how computers, that's not how they read. So I explained that. If you want to go through that, I gave you a real brief overview. You could go look at it yourself. But let's talk about critical race theory, because that is what we are here to do this evening. And I know how much y'all don't like Wikipedia, but let me tell you something. Wikipedia, while you can't use it to cite anything, it does give you very basic knowledge that is still valid. So I do want to share with you what's the definition, because I think that's a great place for us to start, is what is the definition of critical race theory, okay? So let's see here. I'm going to do a little school teaching. All right. We're going to share screen. Sorry for those of you on Fanbase and Instagram. I'll just have to kind of read to you what we come up with. Let's see. I'm just going to share the whole screen, and then let's go to Wikipedia first. All right, cool. Y'all see that? All right, cool. So let's go to Wikipedia first. All right, let me enlarge it. All right, so what is critical race theory? I'm going to read it verbatim, okay? Because people, you know, I want you to understand it at face value. I don't want you to insert your opinion about it in. Like, all of us are going to understand this at face value and not based on our opinions, our emotions, what we heard on Facebook. We're going to go with what the actual factuals are, okay? But you know what? Again, about Wikipedia has really beefed up its expectations of the information you're able to put on it. You still can't use it for like for research or anything like that, which is totally cool. But for the purposes of this live, it works just perfect for us. For those of you that's about to come for me talking about something, Wikipedia. I'm only on Wikipedia so I can read you a definition. That's it. I'm not on here to prove any sort of statistical analysis or nothing like that. It's just a definition. So track with me, okay? So, all right. So Critical race theory is a body of legal scholarship and an academic movement of U.S. civil rights scholars and activists who seek to critically examine the intersection of race and U.S. law and to challenge mainstream American liberal approaches to racial justice. Critical race theory examines social, cultural, and legal issues primarily as they relate to racism in the United States. Okay, so there we go. All right, so exactly what I said. It examines the intersectionality between major systems in our government, in our judiciary system, and our government at large. And its relationship to race. Okay, all right, that's what it is. All right, nowhere does it say critical race theory explains why white people are the scum of the universe, or critical race theory is explaining why white people are wrong for being white. That's not what it is. Okay, all right, all of our involvement in critical race theory is by proxy, okay? It's by proxy, not because our color is wrong, but because of the historical proximity of our culture, your culture, to this topic. It puts people in a particular place in the definition, okay? That's it. It just puts you in a place in the definition. Doesn't say you're a bad person, you're a weak person, you're a wrong person, you're a hateful person, you're a racist person. None of that, okay? We're talking about systems at large. We're not talking about you as an individual, so don't feel attacked, okay? All right. Let's see. Critical race theory originated in the mid 1970s, so this is not new. It's just that with the recent events over the past decade, not even just over the past year and a half, but over the past decade, has shown light on, maybe the history that we're being taught in schools is not really serving us to the level that we would need it to. There is a lot of history that I had to learn on my own about my culture, about the evolution of my culture, about the journey of African American culture, not in school. It was not in school. They're like, here's your Black History Month, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, and who else? They gave us three. It's the three Black people. It's the only three Black people that exist as far as K through 12 is concerned. Okay, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks. Okay, that's all we get. All right, we don't get the real stories behind them. We get the surface. Like, a lot of you probably don't even know that Rosa Parks was not the first Black woman to sit in the front of the bus and refuse to get up. Actually, it was a teenage girl, a pregnant well, I don't think she was pregnant at that time. I think she was either just got pregnant. She was like 15 or 16 years old though, okay? And she was actually the first one that sat on the bus and refused to get up, okay, and was arrested. Rosa Parks was just the face of that movement because of her position, and the girl was pregnant and young, and, they didn't want to take away from the statement that was being made. That's a whole nother city. I didn't learn that in school. I had to learn that on my own, so you could go learn it on your own too, all right? But it is the amount of history that African American students are receiving in school is very, very minuscule, very minimal, and that's not fair. Okay, that is where we have issues of identity crisis that arise. We have issues where African American children in school are not able to embrace their identity and able to embrace, because all they learn about, this is the All right. All they learn about is how their ancestors were oppressed and less than. Okay? That's all. That's all they learn about. And they learn about 3 Black people that supposedly changed the entire world for all Black people. That's it. Okay? They don't see their place. While white students, they get to hear about white history, European history, all throughout school. And I even think there might be a class. I feel like I took a class specifically titled European History. All right. So in K through 12. All right. So it's like white students get to celebrate their whiteness while Black students are taught that their Blackness is less than. Okay. And so what critical race theory would aid in and help have make the playing field equal for both Black and white students, not by separating them, saying white is bad, Black is good, but saying, hey, here is how you came to be where you are. It's not your fault. All right. And here is your position, and here is your position. That doesn't mean y'all can't get along together. It just means that y'all have positions and choices to make outside of the structure of these here United States. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Again, this is not white bashing. All right. I know. When many white people hear my lives, they think that I'm white bashing. I'm not white bashing at all, okay? I'm just talking about issues that people want to skirt around and neglect, which does not help in mental health, okay? That does not contribute to the advancement of mental health, and that's what my job is, to make sure that white and Black people alike, all right, advance mental health wise. If you look at any of my lives, I address Black people in some lives, I address white people in some lives, I address us all together, no matter what your color is in lives. So it's for everybody. Okay. All right. So let's go. So critical race theory originated in the 1970s in the writings of American legal scholars, including Derek Bell, Alan Friedman, Kimberly Crenshaw, Richard Delgado, Cheryl Harris, and etc. Okay, so a lot of people, basically. So what's the basic tenets of critical race theory? Let's see. I want to paraphrase. I don't want to read everything word for word. Okay, so basically, critical race theory again talks about the result of complex, changing, and subtle social and institutional dynamics. Okay, and I'll go back and explain that, rather than explicit and intentional prejudice in individuals. Okay, so basically what that's saying, again, what I said is it's an examination of the totality of the relationship between race and social and government and legal institutions. Okay, it's the intersectionality of those. All right, so that's it. Thank you, Wikipedia. We appreciate your service for that. All right, so again, we got the definition down. I've explained to you why it's important for students, Black and white, alike, to know, to be educated. Because guess what? If they are educated on the fundamental construction of government, judiciary, and social institutions, and what that means historically and what that means presently, then they can make different decisions on how they want to integrate and interact, not be divided. But of course, people get in their feelings. They're like, oh my God, make America great again. What does that mean, make America great again? It means, let's not talk about race, okay? But these same people that are saying, let's not talk about race, it causes division, are the same people that are saying, well, I don't think there's anything wrong with Black people, but I just don't think we should be friends with them. I don't think we should be in relationships. I don't want my kids to marry one, but it's okay. Like, it's okay for them to exist. But them the people, them the ones. And that's okay, because there is love for you too in Yellow Bird Nation. If you've ever made that comment about how Black and white people should not be in an intimate relationship together, whether that be friendship, whether that be marriage, whether that be dating, whether that be business partnership, if you think that in your mind to any extent, call us. We'll help you. I promise you we will. I promise you we will. And we'll get you on the right track so you're aiding in the solution, not the problem. Okay, so there we go. So let's look a little bit deeper, okay, into critical race theory, because there was a lot. I wanted to pull up articles because it was very robust and I didn't want to miss anything, and I felt like all of it was important. So I thought we should at least just go over each of the sections. Okay. So also, please share this live. If you haven't already, please share it. Blame it on me. If they're like, why do you got this on your page? Blame it on me. Okay. Say I said it. Okay. I don't mind. I don't really care about, I used to get bullied. So I'm like real used to people not agreeing with me. It's okay. It's really okay. All right. So let me pull up this secondary article. Let me share my screen. All right. So that we can share screen. Oh, no, I'm just making up stuff. All right, cool. Let's see. What is critical race theory? There we go. Ooh, all right. So I've already explained the underpinnings of it. What does it mean? What is the definition? And briefly where it came from historically. So so basically, why don't we want it in school? All right, let's go through that, because again, we just what is critical race theory? I think we've already kind of done that, and so you can definitely go back and read this word for word like I did if you would like to. But I kind of want to just go over the general points of it, and then so you can go and do the rest of the research on your own, because never should you ever just go off of what I say. You should always do your own due diligence and look up your own information. And if you don't want to look it up, but you want to have an opinion, please give Yellow Bird Counseling a call, because we really want to help you with that, because an opinion without facts is very harmful. Okay. An opinion without facts is very harmful. All right. All right. Does critical race theory say all white people are bad? No. The theory says that racism is a part of everyday life. So people, white or non-white, who don't intend to be racist can nonetheless make choices that fuel racism. I thought that was important for me to read, because that directly piggybacks off of the live that I did, that Bridget and I did about white guilt. When did we do that? I think we did that, it's July maybe we did. Yeah, during Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, we talked about that. So I thought that was important for me to reiterate, because people have what's called implicit bias. Okay, look it up. But people have what's called implicit bias that causes them to have behaviors that are known as microaggressions. Okay, so those are two words I want you to look up, or you can go back and look at that live that Bridget and I did in July during Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, but I want you to look up implicit bias, and I want you to look up microaggression, and then I want you to examine your own self and see, do you fit in those definitions? Do they apply to you? If you don't want to do that, or if you're having trouble grappling with that, please call us. We will help you, okay? We want people that come to us to grow. We want them to be successful. We want them to help themselves, help others, not be harmful. That's what we want, all right? We don't want to beat you over the head. We just want to help you redirect your problematic thinking that could be a problem for you, and it could be a problem for others, okay? And it could be a problem for relationships, and it could be a problem for your involvement in society, all right? So that's what we want to help with. All right, so again, some critics claim that the theory advocates discriminating against white people in order to achieve equality. No, that's not what it does. It educates both white and black students alike. And I say students because we're talking about K through 12 and critical race theory being taught in schools, okay? About social constructs, about institutional constructs, and where race fits in all of that. It's very important for white and black students and other cultures of students alike. If you live in these United States, then it's something that you need to know about, because it is something that you are directly and or indirectly related to or associated with, okay? And you want to make sure that you are on the productive side of that, all right? Let's see. All right, so cool. You can read more about what critics say. What does any of this have to do with K through 12 education? Let's talk about that, all right? All right, so so among the topics that have been studied, okay, racially segregated schools, the underfunding of majority Black and Latino school district, disproportionate disciplining of Black students, barriers to gifted programs, and selective admission high schools, and curricula that enforce racist ideals. Okay, so that's why. All right, that's why, because these are the problems. This is what's going on in the schools, these things. All right, I'm gonna leave that there for you. And so that's why it's important for critical race theory to be at the forefront and be a part of, okay, academia. Oh yeah, shout out to Magic City Acceptance Academy, because they about to do great things and make a lot of changes in Alabama. They're going to put them right smack dab in the middle of Birmingham, which is actually a blue city, but that's okay. It's a start. It's blue city. So, you know, there's a lot more progressive thinking happening in Birmingham than maybe the state at large. But still, these kids are going to grow up. They're going to socialize with others. And I think, I think that Magic City Acceptance Academy is 6 through 12, I want to say. But I'm excited about what they about to do. I got students who I work with in therapy who are going to go there, and I'm going to be so excited to hear about what they're learning. And I'm sure that critical race theory is going to be somewhere in their curriculum. I just can't see that it wouldn't. It just wouldn't even make sense. So yeah, there's a lot of barriers that minority students, African American and Latino alike, have to endure. And again, so you have a white kid in the school. This actually happened to me, okay? I went to Oak Mountain High School. All right, so there we go. For anybody in Birmingham, I went to Oak Mountain High School. So this girl, this Caucasian female, when I was in 11th grade, picked a fight with me. All right, so we ended up really going to blows. How about I got suspended did I get suspended? I had to do an extensive amount of time at alternative school. I want to say it was 2 weeks, while she got a firm talking to. Oh, she may have got suspended. I think she may have gotten suspended for like 2 or 3 days. While me, I had to go to alternative school in 2 weeks, all the way in Alabaster at Thompson Alternative School, and be away from all my friends, be away from being in the classroom learning. And I was an A and B student, so I couldn't be in front of the teachers learning. I had to teach myself everything. They would send my work over there and I had to do it. Why, when we did equal wrong, did we not receive equal punishment? Okay? She got to sit at home for 3 days, kick her feet up. All right? Well, I had to drive to alternative school that was like several miles from, because I lived in Inverness. And so Inverness to Alabaster is quite a drive for a 17-year-old to be making, okay? Every day in traffic, okay? That's quite a drive. So I had to do that. Well, she got to take a break, kick her feet up, think about her wrongs, cap on the wrist, and come back to school, all right? So there's an example, a real life example of how African American students are treated differently from Caucasian students, and critical race theory would shine a light on that, and people don't want it, okay? They don't want it because they're not going to know what to do with it. But that's a problem that needs to be resolved. If you don't want it, again, therapy is a good option. Let's see. So I'm sure y'all have been kind of reading this as I've been talking. All right, critical race theory is not a synonym for culturally relevant teaching, which emerged in the 1990s, okay? So it's different, okay? Basically, I'm not a teacher, but if I could break it down, culturally relevant teaching would be teaching that would be inclusive, like considering all ethnic backgrounds, all nationalities. This is not that. This teaching approach seeks to affirm students, again, like what I said earlier, ethnic and racial backgrounds, and intellectually intellectually rigorous. Okay, so it's more about educating on, again, the underpinnings, the fibers of what creates these here United States. It's not modifying or managing the way something is being taught to include everyone, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm even saying that right. If you're a teacher on here, please correct me, because guess what? I don't know everything, all right? And all I know about school is what I experienced and its relationship to mental health, like school counseling and things like that. But curriculum-wise, that is not my jam, all right? So let me know if I'm wrong, okay? All right. So one of its aims is to help students identify and critique the causes of social inequality in their own lives. See, I said that. That's what I said. All right. So like, I'm not making it up. I told y'all that. So of course, all right. So we're not going to read all that, because again, you could come here and read it yourself. I have it pulled up. So basically, critical race theory in schools has, as of mid-May, legislation purporting to outlaw critical race theory in schools has passed in Idaho, of course, Iowa, Oklahoma, and Tennessee, of course. It has been proposed in various other state houses. And but very recently, within the past couple of weeks, Alabama has been banned. Of course, all right? Of course. Because you could even see people come on my lives and say stuff like, white people you hate white people, you're a racist. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with that. But the fact that you're so bothered, the fact that that's what you see, lets me know that you have a subconscious guilt that we need to work through. And we are happy to do that at Yellowbird Counseling, okay? All right? We are not at all. I have white clients, I have black clients, I have white therapists that work for me. Like, we are all accept. We just want to help everybody, okay? If you have a problematic way of thinking that can harm you or harm others, we want to help you reconstruct that, okay? We want to help you be happy and thriving and loving and accepting, and we want to help with all of that, okay? Black and white alike, okay? All right. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. This really goes into depth. If you haven't read this, well, of course, if you haven't read this, you need to read it, this article. All right. So for the purposes of what we are discussing, I think that again, I want you to go on your own and look that up and be a part of that. Okay. Educate yourself. Don't just go off of what I said, even though I showed you on the screen. It's not just my opinion. But yeah. Thank you, Natasha. Yeah, so if y'all could please share this live, okay? And if you have any questions, please let me know. But as far as the scope of my practice goes, I wanted to explain critical race theory and its relationship to mental health. All right, so identity crisis, misunderstanding, perpetuation of prejudice, perpetuation of implicit bias, microaggressions. If we do not present this in the curriculum in our schools, that's what's going to happen. The very thing that critics are saying critical race theory will cause is the very thing that is going to be designed to dismantle. And I think that that's what they know. But they're saying, it's going to cause division. No, it's going to cause knowledge. And Black people were never supposed to have that, okay? We weren't allowed to read. Back during the times of slavery, we weren't allowed to read. And then when we were allowed to read, all the books that Black schools were given, and probably even still today, were outdated. They didn't have the most recent information in them. Like, Black people this country was not designed for Black people to be educated, okay? It wasn't, because when we initially hit the scene, all right, we were slaves and we were beneath. And so that, even though slavery in and of its original presentation does not exist, like one human being can't own another one in these here United States, like you can't do that. We're getting into human trafficking and things like that. But the ideology behind slavery still very much is alive and well. Okay, that is not gone. And that is the thing that we are trying to combat and dismantle. We're trying to educate, we're trying to reform, and we can't do that if efforts to create change, create knowledge and education and intellect are being shot down. Okay. All right. So, questions, comments, concerns, what y'all got? What do y'all got? If y'all don't got nothing, that's totally cool. But yeah. That's my take. Just to let y'all know, we got some really, really cool stuff and collaborations, like treatment wise, like some very innovative treatment measures that we will be coming out with in October. So I really want you to be on the October newsletter so that you can be privy to that. So you can be, because this new service is about to boom, and so it's going to be on a first come first serve most needed basis. So if you're in the newsletter, you'll be in the know. Okay, cool. All right, guys, y'all don't got nothing for me? That's cool. Just share the live when you see it. Thank y'all for everybody that's watching on the replay. Again, if you like my shirt, this is in the swag shop at yellowbirdcounseling.com. All right. These are boundaries. This is me safe inside these boundaries, and entanglements are everything that exists outside of having good boundaries. All right. Love y'all. Have a good evening.